So going through a couple lessons this week, I noticed a couple guys mentally struggling in a controlled environment and struggling through a couple of drills that we were doing. What's maybe a tip that you could give some of our followers, some of our hitters, some of our Hit4Power guys, maybe a little tip that how in your playing career, how you handled your mental challenges?
Yeah, definitely. One of the big things is just trusting my athletic ability, trusting my swing, trusting the process that I've been working on, making sure that everything I'm doing in a cage is replicating into a game as well. So every time I swing off a tee, making it as game-like as possible. And I think that's the challenge for young kids, is making sure everything we do is with a purpose. And sometimes I know we get off the tee and we're just taking reps, but making sure as we get into our swings that we're putting us in a game-like situation. And I think that really helped me in my career. What about you?
I mean, I think the same thing. I think it's understanding that when you're doing a Hit4Power lesson or doing a lesson with your coaches or in your practices, understanding this is the most controlled it's going to be, right? Especially if we're off the tee or off front toss. If we can't get our swing down into a controlled environment, right, when it's the easiest it should possibly be, what do we think is going to happen? We get to a game and a pitcher's throwing live and the crowd and the environment gets a little bit big on us. So biggest thing for me is understanding that failure is going to happen. I know it's cliche, but understanding that, like, if you fail, who cares? You're gonna fail, and understanding and using it more of as a challenge, and I'm gonna get better next time instead of using it as a downer. I see a lot of guys that strike out one at bat, and then it leads to 2, 3, 4, 5 strikeouts, and then next thing you know, they're in a slump, right? Instead of just turning that one failure into, okay, I missed a barrel, I got a circular bat with a circular ball, I'm gonna miss it sometimes. I think for the younger guys, it's hard to understand that, but for us, we understand it is, if we would have learned that mindset when we were in high school or even maybe like 8th or 9th grade, right, that probably would have extended our career a little bit longer, and who knows where we'd be today.
Yeah, definitely. So in game, when you struggle in at bat, and let's say you go 0 for 20 on a weekend, I know it's really hard for young players to go up to that next bat with confidence. So what's the big thing that you do at the plate, or what mindset do you go into it?
I had 2 things. Mine was always my breath, right? Always found something to step out, control my breath, made sure it was kind of like a reset in my mind. And then for me, it sounds stupid, but I always hummed to my favorite song, right? Mine was always any Eminem song, right? It just kind of gave me that little chip on my shoulder. Felt like I could do really anything. If I was down 0-2, it was 0-0, 3-0, 3-1. I kind of had that mindset where, like, I'm a dog and I'm gonna go to get it done. What about you?
For me, I mean, every game, no matter if I was 0 for 20 or 20 for 20, I would always think about, hey, I have the chance to catch 3 barrels this game. And every time I went up to the plate, I'm gonna catch a barrel, I'm gonna go do damage. And one of my favorite coaches ever, he made us read this book, and the big thing in it was called See It, Feel It, Trust It. So see it, feel it, trust it. Big thing with that is visualizing. So visualizing our success at the plate, and that could start before the game, when we're getting in the hole, on deck, and then as we go up to the plate, see it, feel it, trust it, let it go.
100%, 100%. Going off that too, I know there's a lot of social media, there's a lot of talk about videos and drills and this team and that team and all these different things on social media right now. But if you were to really hone it into maybe one player, one social media account, one guy in the MLB right now, who would you point every kid to go watch?
Yeah, definitely. And I think getting caught up with MLB swings, a lot of guys are doing a lot, but one guy that keeps it really simple, and I think that's the big thing for a youth player or any high school player as well, is just keeping it simple. And I think Adley Rutschman does it the best. I mean, really compact swing, gets to the launch position really well, and everything's just really short and compact through the zone. So I think for me, as a player, I think Adley Rutschman is probably by far one of the most mechanically sound players.
100%, 100%. As far as my guy, it's got to be Alex Bregman. He's always been one of my favorite hitters. He's always been a little guy. I think he's what, 5'10", 5'11", but dude can absolutely rake. And he created a social media account this offseason. I think it was Nemesis Baseball or something like that. Basically took his whole entire offseason, what he was working on drill-wise, live-wise, feel-wise. And I think he's another guy too that he's just honing his craft, right? He's not doing anything special except for trying to feel what he's trying to feel and being extremely intentful behind it. So if you haven't checked out his Instagram account, or I think it might even be on TikTok as well, Nemesis Baseball, I would recommend go and just watch all his videos.
And I think that's a good point as well, is make sure we're finding a player that we're trying to emulate that is also the same stature as well. I mean, a lot of guys I see want to hit like Aaron Judge, but again, Aaron Judge is 6'6", 260 pounds, so not every player is going to be able to swing like him and create the power. So finding those players that are very similar to us and have the same attributes that we could replicate those same style of play.
So I think going off of the name Hit4Power, I think that gets skewed a lot of times with, I'm just trying to swing for the fence and I'm trying to hit every ball over the fence, and if I don't, who cares as long as I hit a home run one of every 20 at-bats. How would you explain to maybe a youth athlete, maybe a middle school athlete, what we're trying to teach her at Hit4Power? Obviously, we want them hitting the balls to the fence, but we also want them to understand that there's a whole lot more to the game. How would you kind of explain that to a young hitter?
Yeah, definitely. I think hitting for power, one thing, everything starts with the legs. And for most players, if we're not using our legs properly, we're not going to be able to hit for power. And then the big thing is just staying within our body, keeping our body connected, and using our positions to create that ball flight where we're driving the baseball. And I think that's the misconception sometimes, is hitting for power is uncontrolled swing. All we're doing is trying to teach a controlled swing, using our body positions to drive that baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it comes with intent. Like, what are we trying to do in every situation? Now, obviously, understanding, especially as a youth guy, there's always going to be the guys that are underdeveloped, undersized, their strength isn't there, right? So they're not going to be able to hit the ball 250, 300 on some of these fields. And I think it comes down to just understanding what kind of hitter are you. If you're a guy at a 12U level and you're the biggest guy on the team, you can hit the ball to the wall, I think, yeah, you get a little more range and a little more freedom. But my littler guys, which is a majority of all the young guys we see, is they're probably better off on a hard line drive right up the middle. Maybe a little bit more in the air, but for the most part, we're not trying to play in the air. Our intent here is not to teach a ball in the air. Our intent is to try to teach the best contact that we can possibly have. And if the ball goes out of the yard or goes off the fence, even better, right? That's icing on the cake. But at the end of the day, we're trying to teach complete hitters and just trying to make the game better as we go.
Yeah, definitely. I like what you said with intent, and that's the biggest thing. There's nothing worse than having a hitter's count, your 2-1s, 3-0s, 3-1s, and taking a swing where we're reaching for an off-speed pitch or we're not on time. So that intent part is huge with the concept of hitting for power. One of the best advice I got is in a hitter's count is swing hard just in case you hit it, right? So even in the worst case scenario, if we swing and miss, we still have another strike. Again, our approach is going to change when we get to 2 strikes, but we want to give us the best chance possible of driving that baseball in the gap.